Hi, I'm Lisa and welcome back to my Fat React series where we're going to be reacting to different aspects of health culture. This includes the fitness community, the fat acceptance community, as well as popular health and beauty trends. So if you saw one of my previous videos, then you'll know that many FA people truly believe that nobody will ever see them as anything else but fat first. It's fat first, therapist second, fat first, marathon runner second. This is an example. But there is this other side to this belief that is like once you lose weight, people will 1, treat you better, 2, respect you more, and 3, actually notice other things about you other than the fact that you're fat. But I really don't think it's as extreme as the FA community makes it out to be. So I have a video on this that kind of just dives into the notion of FA making their fatness the center of the universe. But the video is doing like this callback to that 2023 hit of the summer, Barbie. I actually have a Barbie shirt on right now just to, kind of go with the theme. But Barbie kind of became famous for this quasi-feminist speech during the climax of the film where America Ferrera gets up and she talks about all the contradictions and difficulties of being a woman. But anyways, this person takes that Barbie speech and rewrites it from the perspective of being fat. And I was like, I only watched a little bit of it. I want to watch the rest with you. Let's get into it. I want to see the fat Barbie speech.
So like a lot of other people, I've seen the Barbie movie. And like a lot of other people, I was really moved by America Ferrera's big speech. And it got me thinking about some of the contradictions of being a plus size person. So I wanted to shout them into the void. You have to like yourself, but not too much because that's glorifying obesity, but not too little because then you have low self-esteem. And who's ever going to like you if you don't like yourself? You have to date, but you can't reject anyone because you should be grateful that anyone is giving you any kind of attention or being attracted to you. But you also can't settle because then you don't value yourself.
Okay, the whole thing about liking yourself, glorifying obesity, that's not what people mean when they say that you're glorifying obesity. When they're saying you're glorifying obesity, it's typically in regards to you saying, hey, you can be healthy and obese at the same time. And so you're propping up this unhealthy state of being, this unhealthy physical state, and encouraging people to, you can be this size and there's gonna be nothing wrong with you. And that's just not true. So you're glorifying something that's actually bad for you. It'd be kind of like the same thing of saying, you could look really cool if you smoke a cigarette, right? I mean, everybody who smokes cigarettes is just really freaking cool. You would be glorifying cigarettes. And it's not like the fact that you're smoking a cigarette glorifying it. It's you adding that descriptor onto it, which makes the glorification present. And when she says, who's ever going to like you if you don't like yourself? It's like, well, you do have to like yourself for other people to like you. Typically, it's really hard to accept and love from someone if you don't value yourself. And when it comes to the dating thing she mentioned, there was that study that showed that obese women did not want to date obese men and they didn't find obese men attractive. And it's well, yeah, maybe you'll find somebody who's a gym bro who's really into the chubby girls, but on average, people tend to match up. That's just what ends up happening. In the age of dating apps, it does make it kind of difficult because you as an overweight woman could find yourself attracted to an overweight man. You just wouldn't know it until you actually meet them and talk to them, right? And unfortunately, that's how it works with girls. Girls are attracted more to the bio that's attached to the picture than the picture itself, whereas men tend to always see the picture first. And so this is kind of a very masculine way of thinking, which is very interesting. Because this woman would have hoped that you would get to know her first, right? But she's not thinking about getting to know them. That's odd.
You can't complain that you're fat because it's your fault that you're fat. But then when you bring up things like PCOS, hormonal issues, then you're just making excuses.
I don't think you're making excuses if you talk about PCOS and your thyroid disorder and any other sort of issue in that range of, weight gaining diseases that I also have. I have hypothyroidism. I have PCOS. I have a genetic disease that makes it hard to work out. Those are just factors that create barriers to weight loss. And so once you break down those barriers or find accommodations with the barriers, because here's the thing, there's nothing in the world that's ever going to get rid of my genetic disease. There is no amount of dieting or exercise I can do to make that genetic disease go away. It's always going to physically affect me. What I do have are accommodations. I can find ways to work out around that. I have to do things differently in order to accommodate that disability. I might not ever be able to run a marathon or a rock climb because my joints are so loose. Oh well. What I can do is walk around the block. What I can do is use the weight machines at the gym. Like that. So, okay, that's my limitation. Big deal. But what people don't like is when you use those things and say, these are the reasons why I am specifically super morbidly obese. I didn't overeat. It's because of these things. It's like, no, acknowledge how these diseases work. PCOS and hypothyroidism cause issues with your metabolism where you are unable to regulate your appetite. Yes, it can cause some mild weight gain and some mild fat gain, make you a little pudgy, but it doesn't make you super morbidly obese. Probably doesn't even make you morbidly obese unless you're at a very, very particular height, right? And so, but when you insist to people things that are not real, that's when they push back and say, you need to stop making excuses. You did overeat. Because guess what? I overate. Now, to be fair, a lot of the time I didn't realize I was overeating. So I'm not going to look at myself and be like, yeah, I really overate there and I just, wasn't thinking about it. It was more like, oh my gosh, I am so hungry. Why am I so hungry? And just eating and eating because I could not feel full. And yeah, that's how I gained weight. That's how I got super morbidly obese. I've lost weight since then because after finding a way to regulate my cravings and help to stabilize my metabolism and my appetite with medication, with changing my diet, with avoiding certain things that increase inflammation, I've been able to not feel hungry when it's dinner time. I mean, like, I'm hungry in a normal way, but I cannot even begin to describe to you the hunger I felt when I was gaining all my weight. I thought there was not enough food in the world that I could eat. And it wasn't an ED because it wasn't emotional. It wasn't like the stimulation of putting like food in my throat, as like Alex would talk about. It was like literally like I was so hungry I could not stop eating. And it wasn't something I knew how to explain to a doctor because at the time I thought there was something like wrong with my ability to control things, and that's where I have issues in the way that we talk about like fat and how people like gain weight. Like there are medical concerns that people are not looking at for why people are overeating. That's a big issue, but it's the lack of acknowledgement of that overeating that is the infuriating part.
You have to eat, but not too much because people are going to point it out if you eat too much. But
who is pointing out that you eat too much other than your restrictive eating grandmother like I had? Like, she's the one who pointed out I ate too much. She's the only one. Nobody else in my entire life has ever said, "Lo, at least you're eating a lot of food." Nobody. Like, who are your friends that you're hanging out with who would say this? They always act like everybody out there is just, like, commenting on their food. It's in their head. They're in their head. They're like, everybody's staring at what I'm eating and how much I'm eating. And maybe some people are thinking that, but are they saying it to you?
If you eat too little, then people are going to congratulate you on starving yourself and trying to lose weight.
Who has ever, like, congratulated you on eating less food? If you ate a salad, somebody like, congratulations on eating a salad today. If you ate, like, half your dinner, congratulations on eating half your dinner today. Nobody's ever done that to me, okay? I just don't know, like, what is this experience that you've had? Like, I'm sorry, but your mom doesn't count. Moms, not my mom. I love my mom. Mom, I love you. But moms in general can be very hard on their daughters. And this is because of the way that their own moms treated them. Like, the average person is not going to do this.
You have to eat, but not salads because who are you kidding? But also not a burger because then you're just a stereotype. You have to be okay with people making fun of you, mostly behind your back. But then the second that you laugh at yourself or make fun of yourself, they're going to be angry because you're taking away some of their power by laughing at yourself and seeing that you are the joke, and they can't take power from that if you're willing to laugh at yourself.
Okay, what you said there made absolutely zero sense. I make fun of myself all the time on this channel. I haven't seen one person in the comments being like, how dare you make fun of yourself for being fat, right? Is it because I'm losing weight? Do I have like a special privilege because I'm actively trying to lose weight that I'm allowed to laugh at myself? Because I don't know what she's talking about. Nobody ever out there has been like, you're taking away my power because you're making a joke about you being fat. I made go ahead. Tell me your best fat jokes. Put them in the comments below and just like roast me to your heart's content about how fat I am. I can't believe I just said that. But you know what? Let's do it. Let's make her wishes come true. Okay? Let's feed into the delusion.
You have to be okay with how often skinny people throw on fat suits just to be funny, and how most of the time skinny actors are hired and put into fat suits instead of fat actors being hired.
I mean, that does happen, but it's such like an uncommon thing. Like, she's talking about it happens all the time. I mean, it happened a lot, like, say, in the 90s. Like, you have, like people, like, especially men dressing up as women. Like, that's a whole other thing, men dressing up as women, right, in the 90s. And then also putting on a fat suit. Like, what was, like, Mrs. Doubtfire or, like, Medea. Like, has anybody done that recently? Like, I know on that show, This Is Us, they had that one character, like, put on a fat suit and then showed him losing weight. And maybe they did that because they needed him to lose weight for the plot, and they didn't want to have a physically overweight person go through an extreme dieting situation to fit a filming schedule. Like, isn't that, in my opinion, that's kind of better, actually. But then again, also on that show, one of the main characters of the show was super morbidly obese, and they hired her, right? So yeah, I don't think this is as prolific as she makes it out to be.
You have to be put together and not sloppy, because then you're just another part of the stereotype of being fat and lazy. But you also can't complain about the price that you pay for plus size clothing. You just have to be grateful that there's plus size clothing at all.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, when it comes to dressing sloppy and messy, thin people don't escape this criticism. Okay, if I see you out on the street and you do not look put together, my put together butt is judging you to some extent. I'm sorry, I just am. And it especially applies to, like, a lot of these men on the internet, not in the real life sphere, right? Always on the internet, who are like, why would a girl like me? It's like, well, dude, you're wearing a t-shirt that's like 2 sizes too big. You're wearing incredibly baggy pants. You look like you haven't washed your hair. You haven't cut your hair. You don't look like somebody who can take care of themselves, so why would a girl date you? And guess what? A lot of times, they're super skinny. They're not fat. And that's like a very big women thing too. It's like women judge other women. Women judge men based on their appearances, because we don't look at people, a lot of times, this is me going back to my, like, the women knowledge. We don't look at people and think, that person is attractive and therefore I want to marry them. We look at that person and say, that person, they got very strange clothes on that don't fit them. They don't take care of themselves, but can they take care of me? Probably not, because they can't even take care of themselves. That's kind of the way that we think. And so thin people don't escape that criticism. And thin people can be absolutely lazy, especially if they smell bad, especially if their hair is unwashed, especially if they just look like they haven't shaved in a while. Like, that kind of rhetoric goes way beyond fat people. And you're just kind of applying it to fat people because that's what you're used to hearing from other FA people. Like, fat people are, like, lazy, right? No. If you do dress up and you look cute, people recognize that you look cute. Like, I get so many compliments on looking cute. Like, I had a compliment in one of the videos the other day that said, hey, I really loved how your eyeshadow made your eyes pop and how you coordinated it with the outfit that you were wearing. And I was like, aw. Did somebody say, I'm so glad that you just spent the time to put yourself together despite the fact you're fat and lazy? No, nobody said that to me. I mean, I have a freaking YouTube channel on the internet. The only people who, like, really come in and insult me are, 1, vegans, and 2, FA people. Right? Or if I, like, defend Nicola Coughlan from Bridgerton and say that she doesn't look that fat, people are like, yeah, she is that fat and she's not attractive. Like, that's basically it. That is the range of criticism that I get.
Even though a lot of the time it's only online. And God forbid you do lose weight, because then you'll realize that people treat you better as a skinny person than they ever did as a fat person. And on top of all of that, which I haven't even covered in this video, you can make a video venting some of your frustrations, and people will crawl out of the woodwork and go out of their way to make nasty comments to you.
Somebody's gonna take this video and they're gonna be like, just like my video, not her video, and be like, who wants to go to the Four Seasons Orlando? Me! Right? It's gonna be like that, because I apparently crawl out of the woodwork to comment on her video, but she's making a lot of statements, and I, as a fat person, I want to comment on them. Okay, and she says here that they'll treat you better as a skinny person as they ever did as a fat person, and she has, like, this qualifier here that says, I have not experienced this, but I know people have. Now, this is where I want to talk about this a little bit, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit because I want to make a second video that kind of more explores the topic. People didn't treat me better when I was thinner. There was a point in my life where I lost 85 pounds and I was like a size 18, and so I would have been like a small fat, I guess, if we're using the categories. And people treated me differently, and at first I thought it was I was being treated better. That wasn't what it was. I think of myself, and please don't be mean in the comments, as a relatively pretty person. And I believe that pretty privilege exists. The problem with being pretty-ish is that is what people will see. If you are at a certain weight, they'll see the prettiness first. And like the way that they're complaining about people seeing you as fat first. And so they see pretty, and so they're like, oh, you look pretty today. And so I got so many compliments on you look so pretty. You look so good. And it wasn't necessarily about my weight, although sometimes I kind of interpreted it that way. Now, let's talk about what I lost. And this goes back to that other video I did about being fat first and ignoring the accomplishments. The fatter I am, the more people tell me how smart I am. The more people tell me how competent I am, how efficient I am, what a hard worker I am, because they are not looking at the pretty qualities. Even though I will be called cute if I'm wearing a cute outfit and I have like makeup done and everything. They're looking at my like non-physical qualities and they're saying, wow, like you're so good at your job, you're so good at this, you're so smart. And I loved hearing those things, and I got so used to hearing those things that when I got thinner and was by default what people would consider prettier, I really, really missed those things, and I thought, oh my gosh, they're doing me so much better because they're now saying I'm pretty when they didn't consider me pretty before. And when in reality, I realized, oh, I gained that, but I lost something else. And so there is something to this. It's just not better. Better is not the word. They'll treat you better in certain aspects, but you will also lose certain things. And you can't control what people think about you or say about you. And that's something that I had to learn. And it made me really upset at the time that I was being, essentially having my mind and my accomplishments ignored. Like this is actually having my accomplishments ignored, was being thinner. People did not give a crap when I was fat about anything else other than what I could bring to the table. That's why I always talk about being your own best self-advocate, because, if people aren't seeing those things about you, speak up about them. But don't wait for people to change or wait for people to notice. You need to be the one who is speaking up and saying it and doing the thing. And so, yeah, I don't agree with her fully. And there are other videos out there, which we will do a review on again in the future, who do say, yes, I am treated better now, but I don't think that they're thinking about it in the range of ways that they're treated, okay? If they only ever valued themselves in a physical sense, that's all they're ever going to see. They didn't have other qualities like I had. They're not going to see how that perspective is changed and influenced, how the spectrum of things are different. That was a word salad, I apologize, but you know what I mean.
And yet they'll say that thin privilege isn't a thing while they're actively trying to make you feel bad about existing and being fat in this world.
Okay, I don't believe that thin privilege is a thing unless you're talking about having more dating options, being able to be more physically active, having better health in general, because let's be honest, on average, you're going to have better health if you are at a healthy BMI. I do believe in pretty privilege. I do think that looking pretty, being cute, wearing cute outfits gets me a lot further than if I were to wear baggy clothing and not take care of myself. And I have seen that. I have seen the responses that I've gotten compared to other people I know when out and about, simply for the fact that I just look put together. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm fat. In fact, I would say, if I'm with thin friends who do not look put together, but I look super cute and put together, I'm going to have the privilege in that situation. I definitely believe that pretty privilege is a thing, not thin privilege.
There are people who don't want fat people like me to exist. And that in and of itself is enough to make you feel a little bit worthless.
It's not that people don't want fat people like you to exist. It's that we want to solve the problem of obesity, and we don't want you to have to live in such an unhealthy state. But it has nothing to do with you being unexisted from the world. Like that's a little ridiculous.
But I do exist, and I'm not going anywhere.
It's very dramatic. Anyways, oh god, that was a lot. So, I prefer the Barbie speech more. I felt like that one was a lot more realistic. There was a few cringe things in the Barbie speech for sure, but this one was significantly more cringe. And I think so much of this always goes back to, call this series Self-Perception FA Community. Like that's, I feel like all my videos are on this at the moment. It's Ozempic and self-perception, because so much of this comes down to how they see themselves and projecting it onto the rest of the world. When in reality, girls, I'm sorry. This is all you. This is all you and the way that you think about yourselves. Nobody else is making you think this way. And I can say that as a fat person. And you have to listen to me because of my lived experience, right? Right? That's what we're told. Anyways, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you have a different experience you want to talk about? Maybe as a fat person who's losing weight or has lost weight? Let me know. Comment down below. Like and subscribe if you're so inclined, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.